All right. I want to thank everybody for joining us tonight on Next to the Mic. We have some great people here joining me. We have the Uplift Empowerment group here, and I'm so excited that they're here tonight. Me being a military spouse for 13 years, and uh, I know what it feels like to take care of veterans and hear veterans out. And we definitely need to start supporting our veterans in Frederick, most importantly in Frederick and our surrounding counties. We have Washington County, we have Montgomery County, and Howard County. All those veterans that live there, we can't forget about those veterans. But I want to also include that I have the Next on the Mic YouTube channel. It's Next on the Mic YouTube. So if you have people that do not engage in Facebook, they can always watch my show on the YouTube, Next on the Mic. And I'm going to introduce everybody by name, but I'm also going to let them tell a little bit about themselves. And so you are watching, make sure you share with some of the people that you know that are veterans. Or if they're not veterans, you can share it with anybody and they might know some veterans. So I'm going to start with the name that comes up first on my screen. And that's Dr. X, Mr. AKA, what is it? Xavier, aka Dr. X. How would you like to call it?
Hey,
So I
either
will let
way,
him
either
go
way.
first.
Yeah,
Okay, well, go
thank you,
ahead,
Carolyn.
introduce yourself, and I'm gonna ask everybody if you're not talking, mute yourself.
Awesome.
Go
Thanks,
ahead.
Carolyn. Thanks for putting this together. Thanks for having us, our team, our crew, on this podcast. I'm Dr. Xavier Bruce. I am the CEO and co-founder of Uplift Energy Coaching. My better half is also on the screen here, Elisa Bruce. I'm also the co-founder of Uplift Empowerment, which we will be talking about here mostly. But I'm also the chapter commander of the National Association for Black Veterans, the Western Maryland chapter. And I'm so glad that we're able to pull this together and have members of Uplift Empowerment on this podcast so that we can help you all understand what we're all about, what we bring to this region as well as the DMV as a whole, and what our unique value proposition is. Again, I'm Dr. X. Thank you.
Okay, and we will lead with his better half, Miss Elise Bruce. You can go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Thank you for having us, Carolyn, to give us the opportunity to talk about Uplift Empowerment. Thank you. Well, you already know my name. I am Elisa Bruce. I'm the better half of Dr. X. I am also CEO of Uplift Fitness, focusing on women to help them empower them to enhance their overall wellness from the inside out. I am also a member at large for Uplift Empowerment, focusing on the pain points, fitness, and nutrition, trying to help veterans out there get motivated to be healthy, continue their health journey, or help them get back on track if they're struggling, and just try to help people get better and strong.
Okay, and next it will be Jen Goodman.
Hello, everybody. I am Jan Goodman. I am a retired Air Force Lieutenant Colonel. Been in the area here in Maryland since about 2011. Served 25 years active duty, and excited about being a part of this organization.
And Miss Pamela.
Hello, everybody. Thank you, Carolyn, for having us on the show. My name is Pamela Burkett Jones. I am a retired first responder after 27 years. I'm the founder of Proactive Life Coaching and Consulting. I'm actually a career strategist that works with veterans and also first responders who've been in those type of careers, and they're ready to move on and career transition to something that's not so demanding and powerful over their lives, and just do what they want to do in their next chapter and enjoy it. Thank you.
Thank you all for being on my show. And I just want to say I'm so honored and so happy to be part of this group. And Dr. Xavier definitely reached out when I reached out to him, and then he reached back out, and he's been very supportive the whole time. And I will definitely say that my father was in the military, and seeing my father transition from military to civilian was very complicated. It was so complicated that I refused to be a military spouse after that. And so then guess what happened? I became a military spouse. So it's like, and it was a complicated transition after that. So so I definitely know that it's so essential to have people like yourselves supporting our veterans when they're transitioning from military to civilian, because it can be very complicated. A lot of the veterans, they end up homeless. And people think that military makes a lot of money. Newsflash, we don't. So it's like, they don't make a lot of money. If we could do the statistics of how many military families are on food stamps, we're not even going to get into that, right? So it's kind of like what people think we have, we don't really have. And so, especially when you transition to a place like Frederick, where it's it's expensive. And so, we need to start reaching out to them. And then let's not talk about, me and, Amin, which is a veteran, we talked about it yesterday about PTSD and trauma, right? So trauma is not addressed while they're in the military. Trauma's addressed after they come out. After they come out, it's too late then, right? So it's like it's way too late to address it then. Me working for law enforcement, we know being trauma informed while we're in the mix. But being trauma informed in the military is a taboo. Like, we don't even talk about that, right? Like, you better not put you have PTSD on that document. You better not put that you have that on your document, because why? That could affect you in your career. So they cannot even address their trauma while they're in the service or they're serving our country. So they have to address that at the end. And that's when it's way too late then. So people like yourselves can definitely help our veterans to get in track about that. So now that I've made my little spiel, so I'm gonna ask, how did you come up with Uplift Empowerment? Why did you feel it was necessary to come up with it? And what inspired you to start this organization?
So it all started when I was in Kandahar, Afghanistan. And Taryn, you just touched on it, PTSD. It was rocket attacks constantly, especially on the weekends. It's like the bad guys knew that we like to hang out on the weekends, and that's when most of the rocket attacks occurred when I was in Kandahar. But at the same time, I was trying to finish up my doctorate, and I was having rocky relationships with my family. And there was this one morning, a rocket attack landed about 50 yards away, shook everything. I hit the floor and got up and had to run to the nearest bunker. Now, I was the only one in that bunker because I'm an early bird, and I went there early, and I'm sitting in this bunker by myself. And Carolyn, you mentioned it. You better not put PTSD. You better not go to military medical talking about you have PTSD. At least that was the stigma. It may not have been 100% true, but my interpretation was you better not go over there talking about you got some mental issues. And again, I was having issues at the time with relationships. So I basically said, you know what? I need to uplift my damn self. So that has stuck with me for 10 years. This was back in 2011. It's 2021. And what I did when I returned from that deployment was seek life coaching. The thing is, there weren't many brothers as life coaches. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to get the life coaching, and I'm going to become a life coach so that our brothers and sisters at arms will have someone that they can talk to that has a similar lived experience. So once I'm close to retirement, I'm talking to people about what we're trying to do here in the community. And we keep getting the question, is this a nonprofit? And me and Elisa, we talked about it, and we said, you know what, we need to build a nonprofit arm to what we're trying to do. And the whole idea there was, hey, there's a facade that military members put on. When we get out of the military, or if we're separated, we put on this facade like we're squared away. like we're dressed right, dressed like we're good. I'm fine. I don't need help. Well, it's a charade wrapped in a facade, covered in a lie, because we're not okay. So so we built this framework called facade, and we'll go over that. Don't want to give you all of what we're going to be doing with our organization, but the whole idea started with you need to uplift your damn self, but making it into a nonprofit in which, let's say, you simply don't know how to do that, or the first step to do that, or you need a little bit of assistance in order to empower you and inspire you to uplift your damn self. And that's the reason why it's called Uplift Empowerment, not empowerment. So that's where it originated.
So I do know that women have a different experience in the military. My dad would tell us that he did enough time for his daughters not to do any time. So we have three women on this screen, and so tell me, ladies, what made you embrace, besides Miss Bruce, and you have to stand by your spouse? What made you want to join such a great organization? Why did you feel it was necessary to support an organization like Uplift Empowerment? Any lady can go. Any ladies can go first.
Well, the leaders are great. They actually know what they're doing, and they actually have, have the experience to really understand. And then Dr. X is definitely a life coach, like you said, and he can really get into and peel back the layers and just help to really move people forward. And so that's the reason why I'm happy to be a part of this Uplift community.
And for me, I actually just met X and Alyssa as I was brought into the group. But when I started reading over the information and what the whole focus of what the organization is about and trying to do, a lot of it just resonated with me in my personal experiences, having been in the military. And when you recognize that any key point or key element of the facade framework, in some shape, form, or fashion, we've been impacted by it personally. And so I just felt compelled, and coming out of, well, not coming out, I was president in another nonprofit organization, but having finished that cycle and then moving into other stuff, I had to think about, well, how much of this do I want to take on? But I just felt compelled that I could bring something to the table. And I think it's important that when you're involved in anything, that you think about your personal experience and then what you can do to keep somebody else from going through that, or even just sharing. I do believe that you get your blessings from trying to be a blessing to somebody else. And so that the theme and the concept of what Dr. X and Alyssa are putting together just really, it just struck with me, and I just wanted to be a part of that, to try to make a difference to somebody else and see what we can do to bring somebody else along. That was it for me.
So for me, like you said, I have to support him and be by his side, but it's also just seeing the passion he has to help people. The determination and the passion is what made me really wanted to be part of it. Besides supporting him, he's so passionate, so determined to help people, and helping people get better, helping people find their way, helping people get strong is a cause everyone should be part of. And I'm just so honored to be his wife and honored to be part of what he's trying to do.
Did he give you that script to say that?
Yes, he did. I know.
All right, let me go to cash out.
So I am going to touch on a little topic about I was on one of my shows and somebody brought up the Veterans Commissions Committee. I didn't even know it exists, but just being transparent. Do you feel, I mean, like when we think about, let's just say when you guys talk about like uplifting yourselves and understanding veterans and things like that, I gotta say, this is the first place that I've been to where they have a military installation, and they don't tap into the military community. When you think about PTSD, let's use that word, right? And you think about how many fireworks go off in Frederick, are they really considering our veterans? Like, you can, are they, and certain things like that. Most of the, when you, if you look at organizations, they don't even know how many veterans they're serving when it comes to homeless issues, when it comes to housing issues. I don't even think they keep the data on that. So how are they knowing they're supporting veterans? So organizations like yourself, how are you going to bridge that gap to make sure that that Frederick is not missing that, right? So have you guys thought about that, and how are you guys going to work doing that?
That's a great question, Carolyn. And we get questions like that quite a bit, asking us, well, are you addressing this? Or did you think about that? Or how are you going to empower them this way? Well, what we wanted to do was bring some parameters into place so that we're not trying to be everything to everyone, nor do we want to be redundant. We wanted to be different. We wanted a unique value proposition because there's a lot of services out there. There's some free VA services. There's a lot of resources that have been around for years and years and years. So we didn't want to reinvent the wheel. We wanted something that our communities can see that we're taking a holistic approach. So it's not just about getting you a job. It's not just about dealing with the homeless situation. It's not just about, how do you transition? We wanted it to be so holistic that a veteran that goes through our program and goes and transitions back into the civilian workforce, they will have a whole health enhancement. And that's why there's, and I might as well go through it now. Facade is it comprises the 6 pain points that we address with veterans. The F is for fitness. The A is for awareness. The C is for connectedness. The second A is for anxiety. The D is for depression. And the E is for energy. So although you may not hear homelessness in there or jobs or those things that veterans typically need at the basic level, again, we wanted to take a look at them from the inside out. So it's homelessness may be associated with anxiety and depression. If you're depressed, you may not feel like going to get a job or pulling yourself out of homelessness. So we're not experts in anxiety or depression. We're going to refer that out if it's a clinical issue. However, we're going to increase the veterans' awareness of what they can do themselves, and we will give them resources in order for them to reach out to those professionals. So to answer your question, there's a lot of things that we won't do, but we will refer to our trusted partners who are experts in those particular spaces.
So basically, if you have, like, for example, if you have if you have a shelter that has homeless people, they will refer them to you guys when they need some encouragement and empowerment. If they had a veteran that's working at a job, they will refer them to you guys if they see some type of depression or anxiety going on. So is that the way you want it to look, or my thought is, how are you getting these people to take advantage of what you guys have to offer?
Mm-hmm.
Is that a trick question? I don't know.
I'm sorry. I'll start it, and then maybe someone can chime in and
somebody else can chime in.
But just real quickly, our services will be primarily workshop based, presentation based, seminar, conference, so that they will get that understanding, get those resources. We bring in those experts so that they can speak on these different issues, but they don't have to go to this person for fitness and this person to become aware and this person for connectedness is all under one roof.
Okay.
Anyone else?
I hope I'm not answering trick questions. Anybody else want to add of how that's working?
I feel like right now we're at the early stages of trying to be known and be out there. That's why we're trying to promote and pass the word around so people can know about what we're offering. And once we are well known around Frederick County, around the surrounding counties, we want to be able to help homeless veterans that are not homeless but they need help. We want to be able to reach out to everyone and provide our services to them. So right now it's just a matter of being known.
Okay, I received that. Thank you. So let me ask you a question. There is another entity umbrella under this. It's called NABVET. And I think that is, if my understanding is nationwide, is that correct? Or in that, could you, one of you guys tell me of NABVET, or tell our viewers about NABVET?
So I'll answer that. NABVET's, it's separate.
Anybody would like to go? Okay.
Okay, yeah. So NABVET's is separate from Uplift Empowerment. NABVET's came afterwards as I was doing research for Uplift Empowerment. And I stumbled upon this organization that focuses primarily on Black veterans. And what we wanted to do there was fill in the gaps from what you see in Uplift Empowerment. You mentioned homelessness and those type of issues. Well, guess what? With NABVETS, we use the framework service. So it stands for social, employment or entrepreneurship, residential, vocational, insurance, compensation, and education. So to address homelessness, we address it with Uplift we address it with NABVETS. So there's these two entities that, okay, with Uplift Empowerment, I'm currently the executive director. For NABVETS, I'm currently the commander. However, I won't always be in those positions. But me and Elisa, we wanted to create these organizations that overlap in some spaces so that we cover more than what we just cover in Uplift Empowerment. So there are two separate entities, but they have two focus areas, but there is some overlap.
Okay. And so if you would like to put the information in the comment box, I will actually put that information in the chat box of how people can join Uplift Empowerment and NABVET. So so people can, get to know your organization. Now let's talk about this conference. Now I'm just gonna say off top, I wish my companies would do an hour conference every time. For one day. So I'm gonna just throw that out there because I go to conferences 5 days and it's all day. So if I can get a 1 hour conference, I'm in every time. So how did you, let's talk about this conference, which I'm excited about. And do you have to be a veteran to be in this conference? Do you have to be a veteran to participate?
I'm going to let somebody else answer that.
Yeah, somebody else can. Now, that's not a trick question, ladies.
No, you don't have to be a veteran to be in the part of the conference and participate. You might know somebody that needs our help. So no, you don't have to be a veteran, no.
Okay, and now go ahead. Somebody said something? Okay. So you don't have to be a veteran to be in this conference. And how were you able to are you guys gonna make this a bigger conference, or how are you able to make this a 1 day hour conference? How did you come up with this analogy? I'm gonna call it a power hour. So how are you? My thought is, are you going to expect it to be a bigger conference?
So, great question. We wanted it to be an hour of power, Who wants to be on a Zoom call on a Saturday for more than an hour? I don't. So why build it? Why build it if I don't even want to be in one that's more than an hour myself? So I wanted um, to reach out to our board and I have to admit I'm not trying to be or have all the answers. So I'm always relying on our body, our members for their input. So the way we're able to do this is with introductions, a guest speaker. You don't want to listen to someone for more than 15 minutes at one time. So I remember that when I was going through my National Speaker Academy, that after about 15 minutes, you know what, you're kind of tired of listening to one particular person, and you don't remember everything that they've said. So the guest speaker, the first one, it will be myself, because I want to kind of lay the groundwork for understanding why Uplift Empowerment even exists. But going forward, we're going to have guest speakers come in for that 15 minutes. And then after that, what we're going to do is have breakout rooms. Remember, I told you that there's 6 pain points. Well, there's one breakout room for each pain point, from
Now
fitness to energy.
Now I'm gonna get into that, so don't tell everybody's position, okay?
Okay. I won't steal your thunder. I'm not going to steal your thunder. I'm just going to leave it at, hey, we got some breakout rooms. You go to one breakout room for 15 minutes, and then you're going to be released back into the main room. Then you're going to have another 15 minutes to go into another breakout room. Now, you can pick the same breakout room twice, but you can go to another breakout room. So it's going to be 30 minutes in 2 breakout rooms. Could be the same one, but it could be separate ones. You can go from fitness to connectedness, or from anxiety to energy, or you pick which 2 breakout rooms you want to be in. That's 30 minutes right there. So after that, question and answers, and we close out. And again, we're trying to be out of there in an hour, 1 hour of power.
And so we have 2 other members that joined us, Mr. Johnny Shepard and Mr. Torrance Beck. Now I'm gonna say now, y'all came in late. So y'all, I'm gonna just tell y'all who y'all are, but I'm gonna let you introduce yourself when we talk about the classes, okay? So I do want to tell all my viewers that I think another reason why they did an hour, because if you ever sit with a whole bunch of soldiers, their attention span is only about an hour, maybe. So I used to do these orientations, the new soldier orientations, in Fort Bragg I don't know if you guys ever been to Fort Bragg, and they have the big support center. And I used to do all the orientations for the soldiers that came in, and they would have to do push-ups because they wouldn't stay up. They couldn't stay. They would fall asleep after about sitting for about 10 minutes. So it's like for them to stay up, they have to stand up. They have to stand formation, stand at E. What do you call that when you stand at standing in
rest, or
yes,
at ease?
yes, yes. So I know their attention span is very and it's that whole that thing. Keep it. What is it? Keep it sweet.
Simple, stupid.
Yep. Keep it simple, stupid. So I know that this whole hour it's connected. So if you ever talking to soldiers, I'm going to let you know, or veterans, if you start talking for longer than 20 minutes, there probably is like, can we just keep this short? What you need me to do, how you need me to do it, where you need me to go. That's it. That's it. So I do appreciate for an hour. So you had talked about these breakout rooms. We love doing breakout rooms. So I have done lots of breakout rooms before, and they're very effective because you get smaller people, smaller groups, and they get to definitely communicate in a more personal way than in a big platform where there's about 200 people on the screen. So I'm gonna go with Miss Janet. Is Janet Goodman? Is it Jan? Okay, Miss Jan Goodman. what breakout room are you going to be facilitating? And just tell us a little bit about that, what you'll be doing.
I'll be facilitating the awareness breakout room. And
Okay.
that particular pain point is focusing on areas of known and unknown things that people may be experiencing when they, or I should say, veterans experience. And I'm going to really want to hone in on some of the key things that share my experiences, things that I knew about getting out of the military, what I didn't know about, have a conversation. I think it's important to just assess what the need is, and then try to drill down more on what our key focus of awareness is going to be about as we develop the program. So that's my main takeaway for that day.
Okay, thank you for that. So now we have the awareness breakout room. And Mr. Johnny Shepherd, could you introduce yourself and tell us what breakout room that you'll be covering?
Yes, good evening. My apologies, and I'm here a little bit late. I was working on something, and because I know sometimes time is of the essence. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm Johnny Shepherd. I live in Montgomery County. I was in the military, in the Air Force, during the Vietnam conflict, as we may want to call, and I saw a lot of my friends, a lot of even our culture in itself struggle through the perils of that. And as a man, being able to wanted to help another man, a fellow veteran, this is something that appealed to me because I saw a lot of veterans that were homeless. If you go just down to DC around the Veterans Building, you'll
Mm-hmm.
see a lot of people that are homeless down there. And it takes in your heart to be not to be able to help somebody like that, especially when God has given you a little bit more. Because you know, when you're given a lot, you're expected to give back a lot. So this is one of the ways that I feel like giving back to the veterans and being able to just identify the people. That's to let the people know that we're concerned, we care. The program that I will be working on is depression. This is something that we all suffer from in our own little ways, just to really understand exactly how the depression is and just talk about things. Because the camaraderie, more or less, that we join together as veterans, as people, oftentimes is the one little element that we need in all of us to help us overcome situations. During this pandemic time, we oftentimes need some people just to listen to what we're saying. And that's what we're
Mm-hmm.
doing, being able to provide some sort of listening poll for the veterans and try to find ways that we can add some additional help. Because whereas before there was no organization like this, and from Dr. X's vision, he's able to give something back that hasn't been here before. You know, just like anything new, it's always developing, always being able to be creative and being able to do something that wasn't done before.
And I'm glad that you guys are touching on the depression topic. I know in the Black community, depression is not discussed, right? Like we don't even acknowledge depression. So if you're a soldier and you're a Black soldier, depression is definitely not discussed. And I know a lot of veterans how they're able to cope. From what I've been told, how they're able to cope with deployments is they cut their emotions off, right? So then when they cut their emotions off and they come back into society, they don't know how to cut it back on. So it's like cutting it off and on is complicated for them. And so that can cause a huge depression. And you lose your family because of it. You know, you lose sometimes your job, and they don't realize that can just rollerball effect into a lot of things. So I'm glad that you guys are touching on depression, especially with Black veterans, because that's something that is definitely not, it's a taboo. We don't talk about that. And I'm glad that you guys are touching on that. So go ahead.
You know, you offer a very good scenario because we, as people, of all the things that we've gone through, we should have a lot more welcoming for someone to give us mental wellness, as I call it, to be able
Mm-hmm.
to bring us into a brighter day. And it's taboo because a lot of things that we did is often kind of pushed away, and you think that you're less than a person if you seek out and ask some help. But now,
Mm-hmm.
as we become more aware and more educated about the things that are out there, more people are now embracing it and want to be able to bring out help. And this is the organization, the one here that we care.
Thank you for that. And Miss Bruce, tell us what you will be covering and what you'll be talking about in your breakout room.
I be covering the fitness. I'll be in the breakout room for fitness. My goal there is to try to increase awareness for people to realize the importance of fitness, taking care of themselves, becoming a better person, and how Uplift Empowerment can help them start that journey or continue that journey. That's going to be my goal for that day.
I would definitely be in that breakout room because I need to lose like 5 more pounds, like maybe 6.
Can't see it.
So, and Mr. Torrance Beck, thank you for joining us tonight. Tell us a little bit about yourself and what breakout room that you will be participating in and facilitating.
Hey, good evening. I'm Torrance Beck. I'm the president of Uplift Empowerment, and I'm a 25-year Army veteran. So the breakout room I will be participating or leading will be anxiety. And with anxiety, a lot of veterans suffer from anxiety. They don't. Sometimes veterans don't even have an idea what is considered anxiety. So I'm going to discuss some of the treatment options that are available. Uh, Define what anxiety is, so anyone that's on a breakout room can understand exactly what anxiety is, and provide information and resources so they can receive medical attention, medical help if they need so. So that's what we're going to cover in our breakout room.
And that's another good topic also, anxiety. I think anxiety and depression goes like together in some way. So it does go. And I mean, everybody suffers, a lot of people suffer from anxiety. They don't even know they are suffering from anxiety. So it's definitely a good topic to talk about. And I'm glad that you're going to be facilitating that. Miss Pamela, you are next. So what breakout were you facilitating?
Okay, Johnny touched on it a little bit. I'm going to be talking, and he's mentioned camaraderie. I'm going to be talking about connectedness, losing the sense of camaraderie after leaving the service. And I'm going to be pretty much breaking down how it's normal. Human connection is normal going into the service. A lot of people, when they go into the military, they're young. So they're pretty much growing up. And that's how they're in their younger years, and some stay until they retire, and they grew up in the military. So it is important. I mean, it's normal for them to be connected. So in my breakout room, I'm going to talk about some tips and how to deal with that and to bridge over and then make it not such a gap that it can be, and how they can just get through and just be able to function and still say, hey, you don't have to lose your connections just because you've left the military. You're still able to do that. So that's some of the things I'm going to be covering and how to do that, and some tips for them to get through that.
And I'm glad you're touching on that also. I know that's a discussion that me and Amin has had numerous of times about how he doesn't feel connected now that he is not in the military, right? Like they don't understand him, or he's so used to, when you spend 25 years in something like that, and then you're coming to a society that is so independent. It's like own worlds, are doing their own things, and we just go to work, come home, go to work, come home, where there is a camaraderie. And then also, I told you my dad was in the military. Do you guys remember that? And when you're in uniform, you did not even connect with your spouse. Like when you're in uniform, that whole you could not even do
PDA.
Yeah, exactly. So it's hard for some veterans that were back in those days to do it now. It's like they can't click on, right? So that there is that connectedness that you guys that needs to happen. And I know I want to share a story that how all this plays a part, right? So when even veterans, people think veterans are like people that come out the military. Veterans are also, correct me if I'm wrong, active duty also. So when you have a veteran, there was a soldier that Amin had, and he would sleep with his gun that he had in deployment, and he would sleep with it in his bed with his spouse. So it was hard for him to detach, and that was a big, strong PTSD issue. But just that's an example of how connected, how in depth they are, especially when you're a younger soldier, that you can't detach. So definitely all these things need to happen. And I need to make people aware that veterans doesn't mean just somebody that's left the military. Veteran means active duty also. So if you know veterans that need these services, please give them these, please tell them about Uplift Empowerment, because they have a spouse, they have kids, and we if you go to a bigger installation, you will hear more about how these issues affect families, and different things like that. And that's something that they just keep inside because of career wise, and they don't want to lose their careers. They don't want to be stigmatized. They don't want to have those things. They don't want to look down on. So when you say to a soldier, "Oh, thank you for serving our country," you need to think past that, right? Like, more than just serving the country. You need to think about their whole mental stability, their whole connected with their family. It is more to it than just saying thank you for serving for our country. So that is my little input. I'm sorry. Go ahead. So, Dr. X, you are next. Tell us the breakout room that you'll be covering and facilitating.
So I will be covering the energy breakout room. And what I mean by energy is not just your physical energy, it's your energetic self-perception. This is based on my doctoral research and life coaching certification. It's a framework that I built called strategic energetic transition. So strategies to help you transition your energy. So there's 7 levels of energy that I will be discussing in my breakout room. And just a quick synopsis of it. Level 1, you feel like a victim. My life sucks. I lose. Why did I have this particular job, or this child, this spouse, why do I live here in this city? Why do I have a boss like this? Why do I have support? You just feel like life sucks at level 1. You're sad and depressed. Well, at level 2, now you're going from sad to mad. So you go from, oh, my life sucks and I lose, to, no, you lose. You're the reason my life sucks. So you kind of go from sad to mad. The idea is to get to at least level 3, where you're taking at least 1% responsibility for everything that's going on in your life. At least 1% responsibility. And you start forgiving yourself and others. You forgive yourself for maybe being naive or falling for something, because we grew up in the military and there's some things we just aren't good at. So at level 3, you start cooperating, where at level 1, you're lethargic, you're lazy. Level 2, you're defiant. You're like, you know what, I'm not lazy. I just choose not to do that. Well, at level 3, you're like, you know what, let me act right. When you get to level 7, you're your best self. You're non-judgmental. You're absolutely passionate about who you are, not what you do, but who you have become. You're absolutely passionate about, and you start creating success, creating opportunity. You become a visionary at level 7. So in my breakout room, I will be discussing what those 7 levels of energy look like, so that you get to choose where you want to be. And that's what it's all about. That's what energy is all about.
So I'm glad that I'm glad that I saved you for last. So being trauma informed, so I want to ask, you said you used the word you get to choose, right? So do you feel it's necessary that an individual should have certain tools to make those choices, right? So if somebody is suffering from depression, they're not going to be able to choose anything, right? If somebody is suffering from anxiety, they're not going to be able to choose anything. So do you feel like those layers need to be addressed before they're able to choose, right? So why I say that is because when I deal with the population I deal with, if they're suffering from things, I can't expect them to make the right decisions until they get the tools that they need to make those right decisions, right? So how are you bringing that all together to make sure that they are choosing the right decisions? Because if they're not addressing their anxiety and their depression, they're not going to choose to not be mad. They're not going to choose to not be sad. They're not going to choose to take accountability. So how are you tying those in if they're not going to the gym, if they're not being fit because of those chemicals that fitness releases, right? So how are you bringing it all together to make sure that they do make the right choices, that they can get to each level of your energy?
Great question.
I hope.
Great question. Great question. I use the acronym I AM.
Mm-hmm.
IAM. The I is for identify the energy block. Like the scientific method, identify the problem. You're identifying the problem, whether it's mental or emotional or it's basically the 6 types of stress that mess up the way that we show up. And what I mean by mess up is mental, emotional, spiritual, social, universal, and physical. So first you have to figure out, okay, what's the matter? What's the matter with me? What's going on? The A is now you have to analyze your energy level, like I talked about. More than likely, it's going to be level 1 or 2. You're either sad or you're mad. Well, step 3 is where the magic happens. That's the M. Make a command decision. And in the military, that phrase means, you know what? If your commander is out of commission and you're told to take the command, then you have to make command decisions. And I talk about 16 of them. 8 are energetic, and then the other 8 are practical. I'm not going to go over them here, but what we teach our veterans is how to get themselves up. Remember, at level, and you mentioned it, Carolyn, when you're at level 1 or level 2, at level 1, you're lethargic. You like, you know what? I just want to sit out here on this couch. I just want to lay in bed all damn day. I don't feel like doing nothing. At level 2, you're like, you know what? I'm not going to do anything. Don't ask me to do nothing. Get out of my face.
So
Well,
does now let me ask you, is that where Mr. Johnny stuff tools come into? Is that how is that tie in? So like
mhm.
he play a part in that process.
Right. So the overlap is when we're talking about the mental and emotional stress, that overlaps with that's uplift energy coaching. That's strategic energetic transition. Well, that overlaps with facade in terms of anxiety and depression. So when we have veterans that come to us with those issues, yes, we give them tools. We talk about things that they can do in their own mind and in their own behavior. But if it is a serious issue, then we're quickly going to refer them to professional help because we're not mental health professionals. We're just, you know, increasing their awareness of what they can do themselves. But it all starts with energy. Once we get their energy level up to level 3, now they're going to be like, okay, all right, now I will get up and go to this workshop. Now I will log in and go to this first quarter conference. So the idea is to get their energy level up to at least 3. And Pamela and I, we went through the same life coaching certification
Okay.
program, and that's where we learn energetic self-perception. So she will be a great asset to help these veterans understand how to get themselves up to level 3 so that they're in a space where they can go ahead and ask questions to people like Johnny and to Torrance in terms of anxiety and depression.
Now, Miss Pamela, I'm about girl power now. Why you didn't jump in? So tell me about this energy, how you can get them from level 1 to level 4. Cause you better jump in, girl. Tell me about level 1, level 4.
Well, definitely level. It takes time, and
Okay.
someone could be at level 1 in certain areas, and then they could be at a level 3 or 4 at other areas.
Mm-hmm.
But what we do is we have to pretty much coach and work with them, and it's strategic, like Dr. X mentioned. There's strategic methods to go about doing so, but it's up to the individual and where we are. But first, we have to deal with what is, their limiting beliefs or any challenges or whatever they're going through to get them past that. And once we can move them forward, then we can start working them up. the chain from a level 1 to a 2 to a 3. And someone could jump from a level 1 out of the victim stage and go right to level 4, where they're feeling free, they're, about team, they want to see everybody win. So basically, it's about the individual and doing the work.
Now, Mr. Beck, we got Mr. Beck here, and he's the president. Am I correct? He is the president. So, and you guys did mention about the conference, and so tell me, what is your goal to come out of this conference? Are you expecting them to go to embrace your workshops that are coming up? And the second question is, Miss Dr. X has said that they would like refer them to other people in the community based on the things that they need to address. Do you guys have partnerships already and ready to go of people that you would refer them to if they needed something about depression, anxiety, fitness, all those things? Do you guys have that person?
So just to address the first question, you said, what is our goal? Our goal is this will be our first conference, and we're a new organization. We've been around about 90 to 120 days, and our goal is, one, is to increase our awareness, to actually get individuals to become members of Uplift Empowerment. Excuse me. So we can actually ensure that they, if they have any questions about one of our pain points, we can actually help them get the information they need about one of our pain points. The acronym we use is FACADE. So we cover that as fitness, awareness, connectedness, anxiety, depression, and energy. So that's the goal, is to increase our awareness of individuals that know we are here to help serve underserved veterans. There's a lot of veterans that leave the military. Dr. Bruce, he's actually pulled down some statistics in Frederick County, and it's pretty alarming to see how many people in Frederick County are not aware of what's available as a veteran to them, some of the services that are available. So we're just looking at, trying to have that synergy and bring all that together. And we do have people that, you're looking at some of the panelists that are experts in some of those areas, or we know how to get them, we can get them connected with experts so they can receive any type of care they desire.
You guys do have subject matter experts already on hand that will be helping these people, or in the veterans and everything?
Yeah. So, for example, I'm part of the MHA board of directors. So that's one area, and I know Johnny and Torrance have been in contact with some members over there at MHA. So I know that we will be leveraging those relationships for those veterans who come to us who really need some professional mental assistance. So that's one aspect. And for example, if it's fitness, and let's say maybe Elisa is maybe unavailable, well, she has a network who she can reach out to in order to do different aspects of the fitness and nutrition piece.
Okay. I'm trying to get everybody to talk. That's why I'm moving around a little bit. Mr. Johnny, you had mentioned about DC. I agree. Baltimore, we have a huge homeless veteran population in Baltimore. Do you know the statistics of Baltimore, of Frederick? Dr. X, did you share that with him? What's the statistics of Frederick, of homeless individuals in Frederick that are veterans? You're on mute. Oh, let's unmute you. There you go.
Oh, you're asking me for very specific statistics on depression within the Frederick area? Is that what?
No.
Go ahead.
The veterans in Frederick.
No, I don't have that information. That's
okay.
Something that we're trying to compile right now. But
okay.
like Dr. X does have some compelling information about veterans not even having the idea of taking advantage of those veterans that they have given their life for, that they're not taking advantage.
Okay, thank you for that. Dr. X, do you want to share those alarming things that you discovered on the show?
Yeah. So what we learned, and this was, I have to admit, this was from Mr. Kenneth Mitchell. He had spoken to someone in the county government, I think, and he said that only 3% of Black veterans in the Frederick County area have even filed for claims. So that means 97% of the Black veterans haven't even put a claim in the system. So that's Black veterans in terms of this area. So as you can imagine, there are a lot of benefits that are left on the table because of that. So that's who we're going after. The thing is, we service all veterans. However, Black veterans in particular, when it comes to when you think of underserved, that primarily includes your people of color, your veterans of color, and women veterans. And then when you talk about NAV vets, those two entities will be able to overlap and address the homeless situation.
So I definitely want to say, I want to add to that because some of you do not know, I'm very involved when it comes to our community. And what puzzles me is that our government will perform will like create all these committees and commissions. And so I touched on that earlier, that if we only have 3% that have claimed, then what is our Veterans Commissions Committee doing? So why does it even exist? Because now we have people like you guys on the screen, once again, outside people in our cities that are coming together to bridge those gaps when we have government entities that should be bridging those gaps and they're not bridging those gaps. So I want to thank all of you for definitely finding those research out. That is very valuable research, because I know that when I was helping my spouse try to do his claim, I had to do it for him, and I had to go all the way to Baltimore, right? And I had to stay in their face about it. And for him to get services, most of them have to go to what? Martinsburg, Virginia. So it's very sad about that. And I want all you guys to give me your input of how we can help more veterans get their disability. And because if our government's not doing it and our elected officials, I'm not going to call any names out, are not doing it, we need to do it for them, which is very embarrassing. But I just have to call that out. So each one of you guys, tell me how we can help with that. I will let you go first, Ms. Chan.
Well, I think it's important to identify, you don't know what you don't know. And we can assume a lot of things. I think sometimes we get comfortable filling a box, but a lot of what other folks know that brown and Black folks don't know often is based on who they know. So we need to be that resource, be who they know, and then do our part as a collective to bring that information to the folks that need it and that look like us, that don't get served the way that they should. That's my opinion.
I love that. Ms. Bruce, can you tell me how we can help with that?
I think it's mainly increasing awareness. Let them know of the services that are available to them. And for us, try to be advocate for them and speak for them and try to get them as much information as possible.
And Mr. Beck, could you tell me how we could help with that?
The first thing is just ensure that the veterans file, because a lot of people expect things to be done for them because they've served for so many years. But it's actually, if you want something, you have to work for it. And if you don't put, and I'm not saying this for everybody, but if you don't take effort, they're not going to give you the benefits if you don't go ask for the benefits. So if a closed mouth doesn't get fed. So, I have friends that they can file anything and they have serious medical conditions. They're like, well, when I was in the military, I was told, you don't go to sick call A, B, C, D, F, G, right? Well, you get information like that is incorrect, because when you get hurt, something happens to you, your body changes, you actually for life. So the first thing is just making sure that they know where to file and how to file, because, some people don't want to file. Believe it or not, some people don't want to file. They feel like it's a disservice to receive a benefit from the government. They think it's a handout. So you have to change that mindset and let them know that, hey, this is something that you're entitled to, and it's your right to file a claim. So it's a two-way situation, and you can't make a lot of assumptions. And And the one thing about the government is they're not going to make it easy for you to receive the benefits. So you have to do some work. And if you don't want to do the work, you're not going to receive the benefits. So you get frustrated, you don't want to go to the doctor, you miss your appointments, guess what? They're not going to help you.
And I would like to add to that, Mr. Torres, you're from the Air Force, right? You was in the Air Force?
Please don't curse me like that. No, I'm in the
You're not Air
Hey,
Force.
no studies in there.
It was Army Air Force. It's Army, right?
I don't know why he's hating on the Air Force, but that's
Yeah.
all right.
You
Was it the Army
hating,
Air Force?
Jan?
We sense that jealousy.
Yeah.
So go ahead, Mr. Johnny. Tell me what we can do to help that.
Well, first of all, I am an Air Force veteran.
Okay.
I can feel sometimes that there's a little bit of envy there in some of our people in other areas. But I think that what we're looking for is to provide a soft haven for people that really have questions as to what they are eligible for, and being able to come and talk to somebody that really has gone through what they're going through and provide a point of contact that they can start this particular journey to receive some things that they were never even thought that they were capable of doing. And we have no ulterior motive other than just reaching out, helping our fellow veterans to be able to live a better life.
And Miss Pamela, can you tell me how we can bridge that gap?
Well, I definitely would agree with Miss Bruce. A lot of awareness, getting that word out, the voice, and even places that they don't talk about, the churches, advertisements, just a lot of things. I have a brother who actually, he's been out of the military for at least 20 years. He's been sick on and off, out of doctor's appointments. And basically he's disabled. He cannot work. But what has happened is he's got with the right people who were able to get him to benefits that he didn't know he had. So all of these years in and out of the hospital, he was actually trying to foot those bills and, of course, really trying to financially destroying him until he got the right help who was able to. And now he's pretty much he's taking those benefits now and it's helping him. And if he had that a long time ago and knew that information, he would have been way ahead of the game. And so right now he's really just figuring out. And then I have an older brother who's actually, he was in the military, and my younger brother just gave him the information and passed it on to him. So now he's receiving the benefits that was entitled to him a long time ago, that, basically he left the military 30 years ago. And now he's just getting what was due to him.
I thank you for that. And last but not least, Dr. X, could you tell us how we can bridge that gap?
With events like this, with a podcast put on by you, next on the mic, with also our first quarter conference, bringing people together so that they can get this information in one space. Right now it's virtual, but I'm proud to announce that Uplift, as well as Uplift Empowerment and NABVETS, Uplift Fitness, we will all have a space this November, because we will have an office inside the Platoon Veteran Service Center right here in Frederick on Monocacy Boulevard. So I'm excited about that, because right now we're virtual and we're having to take these opportune locations in order to have events. And eventually we want to do it hybrid, where if you are fully vaccinated, you can come out and do some of these face-to-face workshops, while others that may not feel comfortable doing that, they can do it via Zoom or some other platform. But eventually, the way that we really become change agents in our community is to bring our people together and get this information, whereas the way they've been trying to get that information in the past has not been working out for them. So I'm just happy that we're building a platform as a team. It's not just a couple of people. These are experts that you see around the horn, and they're all passionate. and we're just going to grow larger with the right people. It's important to get the right people in the right seat on the plane, at the table, on the bus, you name it. And I think that this group right here will do that, and we're going to make some big changes in our community.
Well, I want to thank everybody for being on my show. It is 8:09. You guys did amazing. And I just look forward to this conference, and I look forward to what the great things you're going to do in the Frederick community. And you definitely have been getting out in the community and getting your name out there. And you've been in the newspaper, you've been like a lot of places. And I'm just so excited about what you guys are doing in the community, especially since all of you guys, since everybody on my screen is African American, Black. That makes me even more excited. I'm sorry, I just gotta see that. So thank you, everybody, and I look forward to whatever you guys have to pour into Frederick. And if you have I'll let you guys have any last words. But if you don't have any last words, we can end this show. But if you do, please share. And you have the table.
First of all, I want to say thanks. Thanks for using your platform to bring us on this virtual podcast so that we can share with the world what we're doing in our community.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Well, I want to offer my blessings to everybody that we were able to get together on a show like this, and just tell everybody to be safe and be aware of some of the things. And like Dr. X says, thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you. And how you guys can show your support is when you see my name on that ballot for state delegate. I have to put my plug in. I'm sorry, I gotta put my plug in. Thank you guys. Have a great night.
Thank you.
No, oh, excellent. Okay.